I transfer my wisdom in life, business, and leadership to the next generation, just like all the FC did for me, just like what Dr. Chu did to me in Korea, Mr. Koo Jong-gok did to me in Kuala Lumpur, like what Margaret did to me a few days ago in Antelope, what Miss Onano did to me in Bangkok. Now I want to emphasize on it. The fourth 10 years, the last 10 years, this is the most amazing 10 years. Just think about it, make me excited already. During my last 10 years, right, I'm gonna be in my 60s. And that's when I'm gonna be witnessing all the miracles that I started. When I have a founder council downline who I barely know. When I have a founder proud ambassador who I met probably like twice. Now, is this possible? It will happen because look at all of us here. All of us here are the miracle that H.J. started 60 years ago. From that 25 cent a week ride to Grand Rapids Christian High School. And we are all here. I myself are the miracle of what Mr. Fu Hokian started 40 years ago. I met him only once before I became Crown Vice President. I am a miracle that Amway Thailand started 32 years ago. I am the miracle that my proud ambassador applied, Patrick and Joyce, started 17 years ago. And lastly, I am the miracle that my wife, Fiona, started 8 years ago. So, for me, much more than a lifelong career, Amway is a life-fulfilling career, life-fulfilling, life-affirming career. Thank you.
Nino, you are an inspiration. Congratulations, what a wonderful achievement. I'm going to change gears a little bit, Rachel. I'm going to put you on the spot, if I may.
Okay.
You're an historian. As you learn about Amway today from your own personal perspective, and you begin to appreciate the rich legacy of Amway, give us your thoughts on what elements of that legacy should live on into the future.
It's very personal for me, and I love that you use the word legacy. It's a wonderful word because it's passing on something that's from the past to the future. So it blends the two, future and past, which as a historian is wonderful. And I feel very heavily the legacy of our grandfathers and the importance of bringing that on. So for me personally, I think Melinda did a great job of talking about all of those core values. Partnership really stands out to me because I think Doug said it great where our grandfathers believed, and I believe, in the inherent value of individuals, of people. And what makes Amway so special is the people. And it's been such a rich experience to meet so many, people on this panel and people at these events. That's where I see true value moving forward. So I'm very blessed to be here and to meet all of you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. Really appreciate it. You've spoken a little bit about those things that should not change, like partnership. And Mickey, we were talking just the other day but about those things that probably should change as we adapt to be successful in the future, right? Give us some of your thoughts about how we need to stay relevant and adapt to be successful in the future.
Yes. First of all, I have to say it is a great honor for me to sit here as one of the panelists. And in addition, I'm so excited and privileged to have the most energetic and respected leaders from all over the world. The whole society is being transformed due to technical changes. So the core of our business lies in the values that never change over the time. But we need to make ourselves adaptable to these technical changes. Helping people live better lives has been the vision of Amway for the last 60 years. So Amway has been making great effort to keep that promise. It has been such a great pride to us ABOs. But I want to point out the word people in this sentence. You know what? These people can refer to the young generation, including second generation. I think they are different because 14 years ago, when I started this business first, we didn't have smartphone, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So these days, young people, they are different in how to think, how to get information, how to communicate, how to consume the products. So now that we have different people, we need to redefine the meaning of the better. So I want to pay attention to the hyper-connectivity of this business. So using social media, we get to know more about each other. So that is very important. For example, if leaders in Korea get to know leaders in Kazakhstan, how about if leaders in the US get to know the leaders in the US? So all leaders will come to see the great vision of one Amway, big Amway.
On a global level.
Yeah, the more we understand each other, the bigger, the better we can make a great synergy. That's the point.
Wonderful vision. Now, Dalton, you're working full-time for Amway right now, and you're working in the area of digital and social media. What are your thoughts on what Minky just said?
Yeah, actually, I feel like Milan could answer this question for me. Milan, do you want to come back up here wherever you went? Yeah. No, but seriously, that's exactly the vision. I think that social has been at the core of Amway ever since the beginning. It's just a different way of expressing it, exactly to what Minky is saying about adaptability. This new generation, they want to grow up to be social influencers, not professional athletes. They want to be social influencers. Look around this room. Everybody here is an influencer. I think Amway has a unique ability to build influencers because we have been doing it for 60 years.
What's wonderful. Nice. Well said. Now, as we look to the future like this, I'm struck by the fact that there is no older market than North America. In fact, North America is exactly 60 years old, right? Francis, even though it's the oldest market in the world, you guys are being incredibly successful today. Tell us a little bit about your success and what's kind of driving that.
Sure. Well, I also have to say it's such an honor to be here with you guys and to be able to build these relationships. It's been incredible. My optimism is truly rooted in the fact that the values and the principles have remained the same since the inception of Amway 60 years ago. And as we continue to change and evolve, sure, we may look a little different, we may dress a little different, our roles may be a little different, but the root system, the core value system is the same, and that provides me a lot of comfort and security moving forward into the future to A70, A80, A90, A100 and beyond. Because that is the centerpiece of everything we do here, and it is most important to keep that going forward. And so as we look to the future, I'm excited about continuing to protect those values, preserve those values, but continue to find more ways to stay current and adaptable. The body will stay the same, but quite potentially the outfit may change. The new generation may want a different color or a different style, so on and so forth. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the relationships that we're building here with the G3. Dalton, I hope I don't blow up your spot by saying this, but we were sitting over there just at the beginning as your grandfathers were being presented in the video. And Dalton and I had tears in our eyes at one point. And I said to him, if you look around this room, every single one of these lives has been made better because of your grandparents. And how special that is. And so to see you guys sitting here with us today and to be able to build these relationships moving forward, I've got total confidence. And I believe this is the reason why we've been successful to this point from the generations before, and why we'll continue to be successful in the future.
Thank you, Francis. What an inspiration. I'd like to change gears just a little bit. Aaron, if I may put you on the spot a little bit. You also work for Amway full-time, based in Ada, and you worked in various capacities. You worked in audit and sales and some other things. There's one of your areas of responsibility which I'd like to touch on today, which is the area of succession planning. Would you give us, I know you're working on that, tell us why that's so important right now.
Absolutely. Thank you for the lead-in, Francis, into this conversation. A few years ago, the Boston Bonanno families, which we'll refer to as the Amway family, made a really intentional effort of beginning discussions about that engagement for the third generation. The change from first generation to second generation was very easy because you had two people basically saying what was going to happen. When you get into those future generations, that conversation becomes vastly more difficult, and for quite some time we kind of avoided it. But thankfully, a few years ago, we began that conversation, and Doug mentioned it earlier. We lost two very important people last year, and Grandpa Rich and Grandma Helen. And had we not begun those conversations when we did, I don't know that we would be in the place that we are today. And so when we began those conversations, I believe we had two individuals in our third generation that were actually fully involved in the company. Since that time, today, we have about 34 individuals in that third generation that are involved. And I think that is an incredible number. And the point I want to make there is that it is such an important thing for each and every one of us, not only to be here, but to want to be here. And each of those individuals made it their decision to want to be a part of this business. And that doesn't just segregate itself to the Amway family. It involves each and every one of you that are out there. You have built something so big and so fantastic, but what is the next step? Each and every one of us is going to live this life and take it as far as we can take it, but who are those next leaders? What is your business going to look like 10, 15, 100? That is a very realistic question. And that is something that even on this panel with Francis and Think Keeping Next Generation, and Ninoy mentioned it earlier about giving on that information and that knowledge and that ability to build that business, it is such an important component of our business that we need to be intentional about, and we need to have that conversation now.
Thank you, Aaron. And isn't it great to see so many second generation ABOs with us here in Las Vegas as well? It's a really, really great privilege to welcome them here with their parents and seeing the business being transferred into the second generation as you described. I'd like to conclude perhaps with a slightly different topic, and I'm kind of looking at Ninoy and Dalton a little bit here, in as much as Doug was saying, every single person in this room is an adventurer in some sense. You guys kind of take it to a different level. Ninoy, you climb some of the biggest mountains around the world. Dalton, you've just recently sailed around the world, circumnavigated the globe in a boat over a 2-year period. Tell us a little bit about how you think the way that you're channeling the spirit of Rich and Jay, that adventurous spirit, how you think that adventurous spirit should inform Amway in the future. Ninoy?
Great question. I was just listening to Mr. Dr. Walsh, and I believe that being pioneering, adventurous, it's almost the same thing with being entrepreneurial. I like to share it and sum it up like this. I like to share from my recent personal experience. Just last month, in April, I was climbing one of the highest mountains in the world, 7,000 meters above the sea level in the Himalaya, part of Everest. Now, a lot of people might think that the best part of the whole trip is when I summit. Yes, it was the hardest part. We left the base camp at 2 a.m. and we summit at 9 a.m. But you know what? When I was up there at the summit, at the top, I was excited. I was proud of myself. I was happy. But that feeling